I'll be discussing on the topic sampling. A sample is a part of a population called the universe, reference, or parent population. Sampling is the process or technique of selecting a sample of appropriate characteristics and adequate size. So, when you have a large population and when you want to do a survey or an research, it is not always feasible to get the data from each and every individual in the population. So, we take representatives from the population and then we go ahead with the survey or the research. So, this is known as sampling. And those representatives are known as samples. What are the advantages of sampling? It reduces the cost of the investigation, the time required, and the number of personnel involved. It allows thorough investigation of the units of observation, and also it helps to provide adequate and in-depth coverage of the sample units. Coming to the different sampling methods. Different sampling designs are available depending upon the type and nature of the population and the objectives of the investigation. Mainly, we have non-probability sampling and probability sampling. Coming to probability sampling, it is the recommended method of sampling in which each individual unit in the population has a known probability of being selected. Therefore, generalizations can be made to the parent population with precision and confidence. Probability sampling method is always the best choice to be selected. Non-probability samplings, they are not truly representatives and are therefore less desirable than probability samples. This method is used in cases where a researcher may not be able to obtain a random or stratified sample, or it may be too expensive, or when it may not be necessary to generalize to a larger population. In such cases, we can go for a non-probability sampling. These are the different types of sampling methods. Simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, and cluster sampling. They are the different types of probability sampling. In stratified, it can be divided into stratified random sampling and stratified systematic sampling. And the non-probability sampling methods are convenience sampling, volunteer sampling, quota sampling, and purposive sampling. And snowball sampling is a subtype of a purposive sampling. We also have multi-stage sampling and multi-phase sampling. Coming to the simple random sampling. In simple random sampling, we select the samples at randomly using the lottery method or table of random numbers. Here we select 2, 6, 7, 12 and 18. These are numbers which have been selected randomly. Everyone has the equal chance of being selected. Next is a systematic or sequential random sampling. A random start in the sequence is selected and the sample is selected by selecting cases sequentially in the list to produce the desired sample size. If your desired sample size is 5 and if your population size is 20, then the increment is calculated by dividing 20 by 5, that is equal to 4. So every fourth person will be selected. For example, here if you give a random start of 2, then the second person is chosen at random, then every fourth person is being selected. So this is known as systematic or sequential random sampling. Next is stratified random sampling. As I said earlier, stratified sampling can be further divided into stratified random or stratified systematic. So in stratified, subgroups or strata are created that separate members of the population on some important attribute like sex or race. Here we had divided the population based on the sex, females and males. Then a random sample from each stratum is drawn. Here first we have divided into strata and then people are selected randomly. But in stratified systematic sampling, first people will be divided into different strata and then systematic approach will be used. Next, coming to the cluster sampling. Till now we were selecting people as individuals, but in cluster sampling we select people in groups or in clusters. Next is convenience sampling. In convenience sampling, the samples are selected based on the convenience of the researcher. Researcher selects unit to be included based on the ease of obtaining them or simple availability. Next, coming to the volunteer sampling. In volunteer sampling, people come forward volunteering themselves that they will participate in the research. The researcher uses people only who come forward telling that they will participate in the study. Next is quota sampling. In quota sampling, few quotas are already being fixed and we just fill up those quotas. For example, according to the age group, if we take 11 to 21 years, we need 11 of them. 22 to 31 year age group, we need 16. 32 to 41 year age group, we need 15 of them, and 42 to 51 years of age, we need 18 of them. Our only aim is to fill up this quota. So this is known as quota sampling. Next is purposive sampling. A purposive sample is a non-representative subset of some large population and is constructed to serve a very specific need or purpose. A researcher may have a specific group in mind, such as high-level business executive. Then we will select only such people to participate in the research. A subtype or a subset of purposive sampling is a network or snowball sampling. Here, this method is used to identify people who are otherwise difficult to be found among the population. For example, sex workers or HIV infected people. Usually they are people who are difficult to be identified. So initially we identify one person and through that person we get connected to other such people. So this method is known as snowball sampling. It is called as snowball sampling because as the snowball starts rolling from the mountain, it will be a small size snowball. But as it comes down the mountain, it gathers the snow around it and it becomes a huge mass. So that is why this method is also known as snowball sampling. The researcher selects few participants who then suggest others who may be willing to participate in the research. Next is multi-phase sampling. In this method, part of the information is collected from the whole sample and part from the subsample. For example, in a school health survey, all children in the school are examined. From these, only the ones with oral health problem are selected in the second phase. A section needing treatment are selected in the third phase. So that is known as multi-phase sampling. Another type is a multi-stage sampling. The first stage is to select the group or clusters. Then subsamples are taken in as many subsequent stages as necessary to obtain the desired sample size. For example, in the first stage, you will choose the states within countries. Second, towns within each state. Third stage, we will take neighborhoods within each town. So then the data is collected from the selected samples. So this is multi-stage sampling. Multi-phase sampling, we collect a part of the information from the whole population and part from the next subset. Coming to the errors in sampling. There are two types of errors that arise in sampling. One is sampling error and next is non-sampling error. The sampling errors are errors that creep in due to the sampling process and could arise because of the faulty sampling design or due to the small size of the sample. And non-sampling errors arise due to coverage error, observational error, or processing error. Coverage error is due to non-response or non-cooperation of the informant. Observational error is due to the interviewer bias or imperfect experimental technique or interaction of both. And processing error is due to errors in the statistical analysis. So this is all about sampling. Thank you.